Hi, welcome to the first video in my series on basic guitar chords for beginners. What I was just playing there was a basic blues in the key of A using 3 chords that are about the easiest ones that you can play. 2 of the chords, the A7 and the E7, require only 2 fingers to play, and then the D7 is a chord that requires 3 fingers, but you don't have to spread your fingers out too much. So if you've been playing the guitar for a little while and screwed around with some basic chords, you might have found out there's a chord like a G chord and a C chord where you have to spread your hands out quite a bit. Well, you don't have to do that with any of these chords. So what I'm going to do is focus primarily on the left hand, and we're going to just go through the fingerings for each chord in ways that I suggest that you finger them, and then figure out some ways that we can get from one chord to another a little easier. So let's get started. The first chord that we're going to look at is an A7 chord. It sounds like this. And what I'm doing is I'm putting my index finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, and my middle finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. And I want to get both fingers as close to the fret as possible without going over it, but I'm right about here. And the trickiness on this chord comes in where you have to get these 2 fingers around this string right here. So usually where people get the most screwed up is that they'll end up coming down at an angle like this, and they'll be hitting the 3rd string and getting that sound, or they'll be too close here and they might get these sounds there where the string actually vibrates against the fingernail. So you need to come straight in this way. You need to really come straight down on the fretboard in order to clear that. So a lot of times your thumb placement is the really important thing to be looking at. I generally can keep my thumb between the 1st fret and the 2nd fret for all of these basic chords. So I'm showing you a few of them today, but there's a lot of other ones that I can play, and I never have to move my thumb. I kind of pivot on it a little bit, but I don't have to do this and then go to the next chord and, you know, have my thumb jumping all over the place. So just be aware of that. If you find you're having trouble clearing this string in particular, the 3rd string, just try dropping your thumb down a little bit or adjusting it a little bit and seeing if that will help. So usually a little adjustment there is what you need to do. So that's the A7 chord, and once again, it's going to sound like that. Now I'm going to show you the E7 chord. This is another chord where you just have to use 2 fingers, so it's not overly difficult. And there's a couple things going on in this chord that will help you when you start learning other chords. This is another chord where you have to split a string. So I have to split the 4th string with this finger here and then my index finger up here. So we're going to put the middle finger on the 2nd fret 5th string and the index finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string. And it's going to sound just like that. So this is one where you want to especially be careful of this bottom string here and that you're not getting this part of your hand to be hitting that string. So that's a real common thing on chords where you have an open 1st string. You don't want to have this part of your hand hitting the string back here, because then you're going to screw up the sound. So just try to work with this one. It's a little bit more of a stretch than the A7 chord, but you should be able to get these 2 fairly easily. So A7 and E7. And you notice when I'm changing from one of those chords to the other, my thumb can stay right where it is. So I'm just pivoting on it a little bit, but I'm not moving it. Okay? So then the last chord that I'm going to show in this lesson is the D7 chord, and that looks like this. And on that one I'm putting the index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, and then the middle finger is on the 2nd string, I'm sorry, the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then the ring finger is on the 1st string 2nd fret. So on that particular chord, I'm only going to strum from the 4th string down. So I don't want to play the open A string or the open E string. And with the other chords, the A chord I want to strum from the 5th string down, and I don't want to play the open E string. And then on the E chord, I can play all 6 strings. So once you get all 3 of these chords under your fingers, then you're going to want to use them in a progression. So if you take a look at the screen, I've written out a blues in the key of A, and you notice it starts on the A7 chord, then it goes to D7, then 2 measures of A7, 2 measures of D7, 2 measures of A7, and then 1 measure each of E7, D7, A7, and E7. So I'm going to just play that really simple, keep a real basic strum going, and that's what you should do until you can really get the changes down. Just keep it at a steady tempo and just play it real easy. So I'm going to go out playing that, and I hope to see you in the next video.